hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we host Night School, where I break down the most controversial topics, the most engaged debates, the most interesting subjects going on in the world today. And tonight is absolutely no different. We got a few things we're going to talk about tonight, and I want to make sure that we get to all of them. I'm so grateful to see y'all. I'm so grateful to talk to y'all. Just so much to get to, so much to get through, and I appreciate y'all. We're going to make at the end of this week, maybe even earlier, we'll make a bigger announcement about Night School and what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. Don't worry, Night School's not going nowhere. I'm not leaving or anything like that. Just good news about sort of what's possible. But this week, we're just plugging away, man. Like I said, as I've been saying, these last few weeks, maybe the last couple of months have been rough, but we fighting. And we're going to keep showing up. And sometimes that's all you can do. Is just keep doing the work. And I'm so grateful to do that. But I was in, what was it? I was in Cleveland this past weekend for the 10th anniversary of the Movement for Black Lives commemoration ceremony. And I got to tell you, this idea of doing the work and just showing up, it hit home for me there. Think about over the last 10 years, all the individuals, all the organizations, all the movements who have participated in the liberation of Black people and the struggle to liberate Black people. To see the groups from Ferguson, to see the groups from Florida, to see the groups from, just everywhere, continuing to fight and to plug away. And to see so many people still involved in the struggle. I think it's pretty amazing. I couldn't be more grateful, and I had the opportunity to give the keynote speech there and to talk to folk. Very special. Very, very special. Anyway, let's get to it because your boy is tired and I want to make sure that we get through all the stories. So let's start at the beginning. Or let's start at the ending. Let's start at the ending. When's the ending? The beginning and you begin? No, the beginning is the ending and you begin. Yeah. Anyway, I know what I'm talking about. Let's get here. Let's get it going. It was chaos in Midtown Manhattan today. A gunfire was in a skyscraper that held Blackstone and the NFL headquarters. They were both in the building, both those institutions. 6 people were shot in Midtown Manhattan. It's crazy because I was in Midtown Manhattan today. My son and daughter were with me. It's just terrifying to know what's possible, man. Anyway, it was chaos in Midtown Manhattan today. Gunfire in a skyscraper holding Blackstone and the NFL headquarters left at least 6 shot and a brave New York Police Department officer dead. Authorities say the gunman, armed with a rifle and wearing sunglasses, stormed into the building at 52nd and Park, opening fire in the lobby before moving floor to floor, gunning down people at random. 4 civilians inside were killed. A woman NYPD cop who was working security was fatally shot. God. Another officer was wounded. The suspect later turned the gun on himself on the 33rd floor. Video showed cops rushing wounded victims out of the building, while workers hid in kitchens and in bathrooms, fearing that there might have been a second shooter. Now, why should Americans care? We should care because it happened. We should care because people died. But it's more than that. This wasn't a random building. This was not a random building. This building is where the money moves. Blackstone, the NFL, global powerhouses, all hit with live bullets. And more importantly, a Black woman officer died trying to protect folks inside. NYPD and the FBI, they're still sweeping the building. The motive, as of now, seems unknown, but the city is shook. This is the kind of trauma that lingers. And again, I was in New York today. What's interesting is that this was at 55th and Park. My daughter wanted to eat at a market that was at 45th, maybe in Park. I don't know if the times match up anyway, but we ended up not doing so. A bird went to the bathroom on my arm, and I was grossed out, and I ended up dipping into a restaurant, a French restaurant, a wonderful French restaurant we bumped into by a total accident. And I asked if I could use the bathroom because and I rinsed off my elbow. And then we ended up looking at the menu and staying and eating. And my daughter said, you know, you're lucky. It's good luck to get pooped on. People always say that. And the restaurant owner said the same thing. She said, you should play Powerball. Maybe. Shit. You just never know. Maybe my Powerball was not having to be there. But more important to me, you know, active shooters in buildings are terrifying. My heart goes out to everyone who's in that building. My heart goes out to everyone who lost someone special. And, you know, justice, accountability, these kinds of words are hard to understand in this context because there is no justice. But I got to tell you, when the gunman turns on themselves, shoots themselves after doing all kinds of awful things, I'm always like, man, what a cowardly way to go out. And I maybe I'm not spiritually or intellectually or politically mature enough to think about it differently, but it just always bothers me when a bunch of innocent people get killed and then the killer kills himself. Again, I assume it's some mental health thing going on here. I don't assume anything other than that, but my God, what an awful way to think about this. Anyway, let's get to the next story. I don't want to stay here too long, but my God, what an awful day. Donald Trump. He just called for Beyonce and Oprah, Al Sharpton, and Kamala Harris to be prosecuted. No, really, like that's what he said. This is absolutely wild. In a wild post on Truth Social, Donald Trump accused former Vice President Kamala Harris of buying endorsements by illegally paying millions to Black celebrities like Beyonce and Oprah during her 2024 presidential campaign. He said Beyonce got $11 million to show up and not even sing. And he claims the crowd booed her off the stage, even though the video shows that they were booing a protester, not Beyonce. Turns out Beyonce's lifelong streak of never being booed off stage continued despite what Donald Trump said. Turns out maybe Donald Trump was lying. The shocker. The truth. Federal records show Beyonce's company was paid $165,000 for production costs, not an endorsement. Again, they got paid $165,000 to cover the cost of production, not an endorsement. Oprah's Harpo Productions got $1 million, also for event production. And Sharpton's nonprofit received a donation. The organization, his nonprofit, received a donation. He never got a personal payment. Still, Donald Trump says all of them broke the law and should be prosecuted. While Trump pushes this celebrity payoff narrative, he's still under heat for his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And the Epstein files, his own Justice Department were ones who who absolutely refused to release them, even though he promised to do the opposite of what he did. He promised to release the stuff. Critics say it's all a distraction from Epstein. That's what everybody thinks. It's all a distraction from Epstein. Well, guess what? Everybody's right. But now it's just a question of what's next? Will these allegations trigger investigations? Or is Donald Trump just throwing shots to get folk talking? Either way, this is a distraction. This is disturbing, and it misses the point. Anyway, let's move on to another story. Our brother Deion Sanders. My God. Deion Sanders just dropped a bombshell. It turns out that he had aggressive bladder cancer, and he beat it. Coach Prime told the world today, Monday, that doctors found a dangerous form of cancer in his bladder. But after surgery, which included removing the entire bladder, his oncologist says Deion Sanders is now cancer-free. At 57, he says he's feeling great, and he's ready to lead the Colorado Buffaloes into his third season. I can't believe he's going into year 3 already, just as fall camp kicks off. He brought his whole medical team with him to explain how serious it was and how far he's come. Prime had missed some summer football camps, and folks were speculating. You know, he's taking another job, he's lost interest, yada, 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 yada. He got married. Nope. He was quiet as he was fighting for his life. Now he's back in a walk-in testimony. Deion's hitting the field with the Buffs like nothing happened. He's just being himself, coaching, working hard, teaching, coaching people up. But everybody watching knows this man beat cancer. Still kept it prime time. Anyway, family, that's it for tonight. I wanted to just drop those stories on you. We'll be back with more. I have some thoughts on a few things that I want to share with y'all, but not tonight. Not tonight. We'll get to it, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.